At Prime Minister Donald Tusk's press conference just before departing for the European summit in London, he argued that Europe and Ukraine did not need an alliance with the United States. There is a paradox, and see how it sounds. 500 million Europeans are asking 300 million Americans to defend them from 140 million Russians. One just wants to repeat the words. The only person you can count on is yourself. However, it took only a few hours for him to change his mind. This is his speech on the same day, but following the Lancaster House meeting. Donald Tusk changed his mind completely. No one doubted. I want to emphasize this very strongly, that the absolutely most important thing for us, for Polish security, for European security, for the future of Ukraine, is to maintain the closest possible ties with the United States. This, by the way, is not the first time Donald Tusk has changed his mind so completely. Also on the issue of relations with the United States. A few days ago, he tried to argue that President Donald Trump was his friend, but during the election campaign, he called him a Russian agent. So, if our security depends on relations with Washington, it would be better if someone else represented Poland in these relations. With Tusk, practically nothing is permanent. He doesn't have a well-thought-out foreign policy. He's paralyzed. He's living in a kind of chaos, decision-making chaos, intellectual chaos. Here we're talking about discernment, about what's going on internationally. He's hung up on Germany too much. And as we know, there's no new government in Germany yet. So there's no precise policy. And he probably has noticed that this is perhaps a game of appearances, this whole summit. Because the meeting, attended by representatives of 12 European countries, Turkey, Canada, the European Union and NATO, did not produce any concrete results.
We are at a crossroads in history today. This is not a moment for more talk. It's time to act. Time to step up and lead, and to unite around a new plan for a just and enduring peace.
Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced a transfer of £1.6 billion of arms to Ukraine. He declared his readiness to send his troops and aircraft to Ukraine and called on other European countries to do the same. French President Emmanuel Macron proposed a month-long partial ceasefire. It would only cover attacks on strategic infrastructure in Ukraine, while ground fighting along the front lines would continue. During this time, peace talks would take place. We also heard once again that Europe needs to start thinking seriously about rearmament.
We really have to step up massive the defense expenditure. And for that, we need a clear, big plan from the European Union for the member states and, of course, for common European domains, like, for example, advanced air shields. We need a common European approach, but also the member states need more fiscal space to do a surge in defense.
The problem is that 3 years since the outbreak of the full-scale war, there has been no security breakthrough in Europe. The real guarantee of security in our part of the world remains the United States. I don't think anyone had any doubts, even Donald Tusk, although he changes his mind all the time, so I don't know how it is that you have to agree with the United States. It's the United States at the moment that has real power, a real possibility to influence a country like Russia. Hence the proposal by Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni to take on the role of transatlantic liaison and mediator after a series of tensions between some European Union leaders and President Donald Trump's administration. We had a wide and frank discussion on how to achieve this common goal, how to promote unity and, more importantly, how to prevent divisions in the North Atlantic Alliance and the West. It seems to me that there is a broad consensus on this issue. There are many proposals, and I believe that each of them brings us closer to the goal. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also declared his readiness to rebuild relations with Donald Trump, damaged, to put it mildly, after his recent visit to the White House. We are undoubtedly counting on assistance from the United States. I think that the cessation of such assistance would only be to Putin's liking. And for this reason, I think that the United States and the representatives of the civilized world, the leaders of this world, will certainly not help Putin. It is the United States that has been and continues to be the largest donor of military support to Ukraine. I think we still need to establish US-Ukrainian relations through diplomatic channels and continue to benefit from their assistance. But it's also good that the European Union is also supporting us and is finally waking up. Later today, President Donald Trump is scheduled to meet the Secretaries of State and Defense to decide on further US policy towards Ukraine. And in 3 days' time, on the 6th of March, there will be an extraordinary summit of the European Council dedicated to the security of Ukraine and our entire continent.